And then you gently bring your palms together in front of your heart center. Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mitroma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale deeply, suspend your breath. And then we exhale. Then we slowly open our eyes. You can bring your hands either onto the left hand, onto the ground behind you, or you can hold onto the chair or place it onto your sofa, whatever you like to do with your left hand. Your right arm is out to the side. The palm is facing your body. On the inhalation, you bring your arm up, so the palm is still facing outside. Yeah, and then exhale down. Inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you can go very rigorously and fast, or you can move a little slower, yeah, for your own pace. But keep this arm moving. This actually will stimulate our thyroid, our spleen, and sure enough, our lymph. And we will do every exercise for 2 minutes this morning. So manage your pace so that you can keep up. Or if you take a break, then you come back and you end with us. I will let you know the last 15 minutes. If you took a break, please complete the last 15 minutes with us. Good. A little bit more. Come on, we can do this. Last 15 seconds. Not sure enough from here, we just switch. Remember, all breath is through your nostrils. Hold on to the chair. Now place your right hand onto the sofa or the ground. It's a great sinus cleanser too. One more minute. If this is hard or challenging, just know that there are some blockages. And I highly recommend you do this for the next few days, yeah, so that you break the deposits. Last 15 seconds. There's really no way around it than to go through it. So to repeat this for 2-3 days, and you will see there's a major difference. Good, and relax. Just move your shoulders forward, up and back a few times. Good. And then we bring both arms up. The back of your hands touch. 2 minutes. Imagine you have wings and you're flying. Each time you lift your arms, you lift your diaphragm. One more minute. Fifteen seconds. Inhale up. And then exhale, rest your hands onto your thighs. Keep your eyes closed for a moment if that's comfortable. Be present to your breath. And then we will do one exercise, a cleansing breath. So all breath is through the open mouth, and you just have your arms parallel to the floor, palms facing up, and you just go. Inhale to parallel, exhale, hands move towards your shoulders. If you're not used to open breath, so this kind of breathing, it could be good. You get a little dizzy or lightheaded, then slow down or breathe through your nostrils. Ultimately, it's a good sign because it tells us there's more oxygen coming into your brain. But if it feels uncomfortable, then just slow down. Give your brain and your body some time to adjust. One more minute. Fifteen seconds. Inhale, palms facing your shoulders now. Suspend your breath. Exhale, rest your hands onto your thighs. Last movement. So the hands can be on your knees or on your thighs. And we just start a little spinal flex before we go and be with Nirmala. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just one more minute. Fifteen seconds. Good, and we inhale, we're coming sitting straight, suspending our breath for a moment. And we exhale. We are ready for you, Nirmala.
Thank you, Siddhi. I have one question for you before you go off. So if those exercises are difficult and there's something there's blockage, but can we also just be like terribly weak? I mean, our arms are something that we don't work very much as we get older.
Yeah, but when we are not using the arms, that's when the deposits are formulating. So it's, that's what's holding us back. Yeah, so there's not enough movement. So that's why it's really crucial that we move every day.
Yeah, every one of your arm movements, arm exercises, always difficult for me.
I think everybody is weaker because of a year of COVID. We're less active. I mean, even just running around in our community or lifting groceries or, with everybody having everything delivered, we've weakened. So we have to really work at rebuilding because otherwise it's a downward spiral.
Indeed. Indeed.
And then I would really like Nirmala to take over. But I ask you to remember that the arms and your hands are the extension of your heart center. So when you work your arms and your hands, you work for your heart. That's it. Let's end the lungs show now. So let's go.
Okay. Thank you, Siddhi. A couple of housekeeping thoughts. One is that we have changed the toolbox, the Fragrance of Joy toolbox on the Shared Wisdom website is accessible now without logging in. You can read anything people have posted. If you want to post, you have to log in, but you only have to log in once. And then once you're logged in, you just leave it logged in. The login is in the top upper right corner of the website. It says login. And if you've logged in before, it'll be the same credentials. If not, you might have to recreate something. But once you're logged in, there's no reason to log out. There's nothing that's sensitive that's going to matter if you're logged in or not. Then it's always open for you to comment and visit. Siddhi and I post a lot of the practices and inspirations that we share. We post there, so that's a place for you to retrieve them if you'd like to refresh your memory or to copy something. And the easiest way really for all of that is to simply download the Wix, W-I-X app, which I'll include again in this week's email, because then it's on your phone and you can manage the notifications, but you can just easily open that anytime, wherever you are. You don't have to log in anywhere, and see what people have posted and comment or add your own posting. But it'd be really nice for us to get more interactive there in terms of sharing with one another. So I'm encouraging you to log in, and I'll send that information again with this week's email. Also questions. Cindy and I are still actively asking for questions about the spirit journey, questions about life, questions, whatever, about your body and your practices and the movements that City is sharing with us. There's a lot that we can talk about, and we'd love to direct our conversation at what it is that you're interested in hearing. And we'll only know that if you share questions with us. So again, anytime, email them or text them or add them to the chat section, whatever. And then the last thing is that City and I are creating or calling forth a healing circle. And we're doing this for several reasons, but the primary reason is that just amongst our group of women, there are several that have many big life transitions that are going on for them. And we would like to support that in a healing prayer circle. And so if you would like to be a part of that, the healing prayer circle as a participant and or as a recipient of that, you can let us know, email, text, chat section, wherever. But the commitment to that is that we're going to meet individually, personally, in our own space. We're not meeting on Zoom. There isn't another meeting to go to, but it will be once a week at a specific time. It'll probably be in the morning early. We're meeting for 11 minutes only. And it's 11 minutes because that's one of the divine feminine numbers in the understanding of dimensions that we operate in. The embodied, the physical dimensions go up through 11, and starting at 12, we move into dimensions that are out of physicality. And so the divine feminine sits right on that edge. She's both, in both sides. She's both embodied as we are as mothers to the universe, and she's also moving into the energetic realm. So 11 is a number we work with a lot in the temple. 11 lamps, 11 cycles of chanting. We use 11 a lot. We meditate for 11. 11 is just a very key number. And so we're going to meet once a week. At the same time, it's important to be doing it collectively at the same time, because that adds a certain amount of power to our prayers and our meditation and our the affirmations that we'll send. But it'll be just for 11 minutes. So anyone who would like to join that, let me know, and we'll pick a time when it's will work, and you'll just tune in on your own. You'll take a break from wherever you are, and take that 11 minutes to send the healing energy to the women that are in our circle, and that we know. It can be friends of yours. It can be anyone we can add. I will take the names and just add them to our prayer list, but we're not publishing it. We're not sharing all those names. I'm collecting them, but we are giving our energy and our love and our fiat, our life force, our chi, towards the healing of not only those individuals, but everyone. We know that healing circles and prayer circles are really powerful. And I think this group, because we've gathered long enough and we have a lot of collective energy that's happening here, it would be really nice to use that in support of both our own community and also those outside. So if you have an interest on either side of it, or both sides, you'd like to receive and to give, just check in. So that's that. Also on the Shared Wisdom website, I've added a Fragrance of Joy page that's going to be expanding, that has when we gather, what we're doing, a few details about us, and I'll be adding more to that as well. So that's all the housekeeping. Today, I want to ask you, what are you addicted to? And I'm not meaning the obvious disruptive addictions like drugs and alcohol, the big ones. I'm talking about the more subtle ones, which are just as insidious as the larger ones, but they often go unnoticed. They show up as behaviors that can work for us. So they don't bring us down completely. They don't bring us to our knees. So we ignore them. Things such as guilt, belief that we're unworthy, shame, um, even disappointment, how we're holding the ways in which this world is unfolding and where we intersect with it. And we can find, if we pay attention, that we replay these restrictions and these contractions around who we are in the world over and over again in different situations. And really what we're gathering for and what we're working towards in this community is to be interfacing with what is really true, not what's an old pattern, an old thought process. Many of the beliefs we have about ourselves stem from our childhood, and not in a negative way that your family was necessarily trying to make you feel unworthy or whatever the feeling is. But there are dynamics in families that simply employ certain strategies to get things done the way they want it done. And sometimes those are behaviors and beliefs that follow us into our adulthood. And our job as we're traveling on this journey that we're traveling on is to really understand the difference between truth and untruth. That's why City chants this chant that she chants when we open our circle, is we're asking for divine support to move out of untruth into truth, out of darkness into light. We're asking for that support to dispel the ideas that we're holding on to that become addictive behaviors in really subtle ways that undermine how we are in our divinity in the world. So we're divine beings, whether you believe that we are a piece of the divine or you believe that the divine is separate from, but that a part of our journey in this lifetime, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to you, but it doesn't matter. It's just as important that we should interface and invite in the divine, whether it is recognizing it as a piece of ourselves or as something outside of. We're still in relationship with the divine, however you want to articulate or however you want to frame that. So our job is to cultivate the practices and the awareness so that we're in a practice of truth seeking and in a practice of seeking the divine and how it's showing up in our lives so that we can dispel these untruths about ourselves that have become habitual. So we no longer have to believe or buy into something that's not true about us, regardless of what the outside world is saying. It isn't important what the outside world is saying. It's important how you're living into the truth of who you are. So in the Christian theology, Jesus said to Nicodemus, who was a very moral man in the Bible, he said, "You must be born anew." And what he was asking Nicodemus was to become not a kinder, gentler man. He was already that. But he was asking him to invite God in, to invite the divine spirit into his being, into his heart, and be born anew. Be born anew with the spirit of the divine. So whether we believe that that was a piece of him or it was an outside piece of the divine coming in, or it's I'm living into the divine as part of us, doesn't matter. We are divine, a divine spark. And we can take that teaching and live into being born anew. You can start today, right now. You can decide that your life is living as a divine spark in everything you do. And that the love that is an expression of the divine spark is so strong in you and so powerful that it permeates every situation you're in. And it completely overtakes all of these old stories of being less than or unworthy or shameful or guilty. Guilt is such a fruitless endeavor to live within. Guilt doesn't help us with anything. It just holds us hostage in the past. That's all it does. So how is it that we can understand that the residence of the divine is in our heart always? The divine lives there. The divine lives in love. That's where the divine emanates from. That City was just speaking to that. That's the heart space. The heart space is what cultivates, protects, nurtures the divine that's happening in our heart space. So we can, and we carry that everywhere we go. We go, our heart goes, the divine goes. It isn't either or outside of us, or getting to the church, or getting to the cushion, or getting to wherever, so that the divine can then come and express itself or experience us. It's in us, and we are part of that whole all the time. And that we aren't just walking into the world with this expression of, I am such a piece of this divine, is craziness. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we accept that as our truth? So if you want a spiritual awakening, if you want liberation from untruth into truth, we have to walk with the divine expressed as us, and that we are a partner in this embodied journey. We are a partner of bringing divinity and the divine source into the world. And we cannot do that if we encumber ourselves as less than, unworthy, guilty, whatever the story is. If we bring that into the reason and the way that we're expressing ourselves into the world, we will not be expressing our divinity. And I have to say, we don't really have a choice. You're here doing the spiritual journey, walking the walk. You don't have a choice to carry that baggage that isn't yours any longer, that you simply have to set it down. And I know there are, many ways you can unpack it with therapy and practices and all these different things, or you can just decide to set it down. You can just decide, I may have work to do around this theme in my life, but while I'm doing the work, I can set it down. I don't have to carry it. And then each breath that we bring forth is a breath that contains the recognition of the divine within us. And we start becoming that spark. And it becomes the way that we move into the world. And it emanates from you and it feeds you. It's sustenance for us. The divine spark of energy is energetically sustenance for us. It's food, it's mana. For us not to take advantage of that is crazy, particularly in these times when there's so much up for grabs. There's so much we don't know about the future. There's so much unfolding that we don't even know about the present. That if we don't garner and protect and nurture and cultivate the divine spark within ourselves now, when are we going to do it? When are we going to step up to that? So all these practices that we're doing, whether it's meditation or mantras or mudras or whatever the micro practices that we're giving now, all of those are in service of you moving into the space of recognizing that which you already are. Knowing yourself, who you already are in the world, you already are there. It's not getting there, you're there. You just haven't recognized it for all these other layers of craziness that come from wherever they come from. We can decide to recognize it today, and every breath you take can be an expression of the divine. Why not? How many of us actually wake up in the morning and invite the divine to be a full-time resident in this body that's walking through the world for the day, and just say, inhabit me, be with me, don't leave, just stay with me. And I'll do my best to be a light, a torch carrier for the divine. It's really when you decide to be in that space, so much that has meant and dragged you down, meant to be a challenge or a hurdle and drag you down, just falls away. It literally falls away. And there's no more of angst of us carrying something we don't need to carry, because our priorities and our vision and our experience changes. We redirect ourselves. Redirect yourselves towards the divine spark that you are, and let go of everything else. Otherwise, why are we here? Why are we doing the gathering? What is the purpose if it's not to strip off all of these untruths and then take the truth into the world and into our life? Why else are we here? So I invite you this week to imagine, to put up a Post-it note of I am a divine spark everywhere, so that every time you look around, you remember that you are that, and you live into it, and you express it, and you share it, and you nurture it, and you multiply it, and you become a light carrier, a light worker in the world. And the more of those that we have, claiming that light, the more healing is going to happen on this planet and amongst the humanity on this planet. And that's healing is what's being called for right now. This is what's happening, is one big opportunity to heal ourselves and to heal the planet. That's what we're being asked to do. And not everyone has the capacity to do that, but you gathering here, you have the capacity. Sadhguru always says, if you cannot do something because you just cannot do it and you don't, that's okay. If you have the capacity to do it and you don't do it, it's a disaster. It's a disaster not to step up to what it is that you have the capacity to do. So step into your healing, heal the world.
Yes, we will.
Okay, I'm sorry if I was a little preachy. That's how it showed up today.
No, even I think it was beautiful actually. I really liked how you made us envision to how to invite the divine in the morning. You know, that she really takes over in a good way. So I don't think it was preachy at all. I think also we need to hear that. You know, because it's so easy to get up in the morning and to do the same things we did this day before and the day before, and not putting consciousness in between. You know, and I think to invite the divine in is creating consciousness. And it's also part of surrendering and letting go. You know, not coming from, you know, that we do everything. So I think it's a good combination. We wanted to introduce to you a meditation in which we will take to real time to connect, you know, with our energy centers in the body. And we spoke about them, but I just want to make them present. So I want you to tune into your first energy center and just imagine your perineum or your sacrum, you know, the home of trust. When everything is healthy, it's the home of trust. Then your second energy center, and it's the space of procreation and creation. The third one for our willpower and our ability to commit to invite the divine in the morning. Then our heart center, the space for love. Our fifth center is the seat of truth, but it's also a creative center. And then our sixth center for our intuition and our inner knowingness, our ability to listen. And then the seventh chakra, an energy center, where we invite the divine in. Yeah. So what we want to do, we want to inhale into each of these centers with a little zip of air. Yeah. So if you just take a little like, you can actually do it through the open mouth, but you can also do it through a nostril. I leave this up to you because everybody has a different preference. Yeah, you can go like, and then you suspend your breath when you're at your crown center for the count of maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds. And then you definitely exhale slowly through your nostrils. So you can zip the air through your open mouth and you concentrate on each of these energy centers and you envision that you bring light into it. You fill the center up with light, starting at the earth. So let's do it together. I like to take little zips of air through the open mouth, but like I said, if you prefer through the nostrils, that's up to you. Palms preferable are facing upward. And then we go from here. Now continue at your own pace. Into your last round. And then just for a moment, feel the light in front of you. And feel the light to your left. Feel the light to your right. Feel the light behind you. And feel the light above you. Feel the light below you. And feel the light inside of you, being immersed in light. And then from here we bring our palms together, tuning out with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for joining us this morning, sharing your presence, your grace, and your energy with us. Namaste. May the divine be with you throughout the entire day and night.